Good afternoon, everyone. SBG Active Aussie here. On this Tuesday afternoon, it's about 1:20 p.m. I found this little patch of forest last Sunday afternoon, and I just thought I'd go for a drive around some streets in the northeastern part of the forest, and just thought I'd come up this track and have a look, and was quite pleasantly surprised because it's an area I've never been in before, and the landscape is fairly different to where I usually go. So was quite happy to find this track. Some really nice flora in this area. I don't really have anything in particular to talk about this afternoon, but I saw an article a few days ago. I think it was in space.com, and it was about the so-called Lunar Gateway, which is going to be a space station built in lunar orbit starting next year, 2024, I think as part of the Artemis mission. And the article mentioned how the ISS is in low Earth orbit about 400 kilometers above the Earth, and the Lunar Gateway will be 1,000 times further out in space because the moon is about 400,000 kilometers from Earth. But that depends on whether the moon's at apogee or perigee, like if it's close to Earth or it's at its furthest point of its orbit away from Earth. So the practical thing would be for NASA to launch a mission when the moon is at its closest point to Earth, I guess. But what I want to ask is, for the American listeners and viewers, do you think space exploration is a good investment, or is it a waste of money, a waste of resources? And it's not just planned moon missions, also future missions to Mars. I think the moon and the so-called Lunar Gateway will be used as like a stepping stone for missions to Mars, because the moon's gravity is only about a sixth of that of Earth. So obviously it's easier to launch a mission from the moon itself or from in the lunar orbit. But as I've worked in construction and logistics, I know that the cost of these really big projects always blows out. And to construct a space station near the moon or to create moon bases is obviously a massive logistical exercise. I think a lot of people will probably get killed in this venture, even more so with any sort of mission to Mars or an attempt to colonize Mars. But if any USA people are listening, just would like to know your opinion. Do you think that your taxpayer dollars are well spent on these sort of ventures? I feel that there are so many problems here on Earth, we should focus on those first and clean up our act here instead of focusing on some very grandiose type projects. Don't know what your feelings are about that, but I mentioned in another video about the money being spent in Ukraine. Some people think it's money well spent. Some people think it's just a big waste of money and we shouldn't be spending money on Ukraine at all. The Australian government and the ADF are also sending funds, resources to Ukraine, but so far only about $500–600 million, I think. I know the ADF sent about 100 of those Bushmaster tanks, APCs, over to Ukraine, and they've sent other stuff too, but so far Australia hasn't really spent that much, nothing compared to what the USA or UK has spent. But just thought I'd throw a few ideas out there. Let me know what you think. I know it's not Red Pill or MGTOW related, but in regard to that, I saw a community post by the MGTOW Infinium talking about JPT, that just pearly things. I think we just need to ignore these types of gals and don't give them any attention, just try and starve them of attention, because attention is their oxygen. And that's why I never make response videos, because I don't want to give these women and these TikTok type girls any more attention and validation than they're already receiving. And the response videos encourage simps to check out the channels of these gals. That's why I've never made them and never had videos with women in the thumbnails or anything like that. I just feel it's very counterproductive. I know some guys do it. It's a lazy way to get views and likes and get a few subscribers. But to me, it's just like selling out. So I've never really agreed with it. The first few times you see one of them, a response video, it can be quite amusing, quite funny. But after you've seen 4 or 5 of them, it's just become stale. And yeah, been there, done that, seen that. So I think we just need to cut the attention off from these women. That's what needs to be done. Anyway, as usual, gentlemen, leave a few ideas and tell me what's on your mind, and I'll hopefully talk to you again soon.